making plans for Nigel. This boy is electric.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the EV Puzzle and Merry Christmas to you all. It's that time of year, isn't it? The time of year when we spend a bit more money than we normally do and we indulge ourselves a little bit more, so we can probably put a little bit of weight on. So what a good opportunity to trim back a bit, to save a bit of money. That's what I want to talk about today. And it all stemmed from about a year ago when I did a video looking at, is it worth getting rid of my fit payments for deemed export and going with a smart export guarantee tariff instead? So I was looking at money I was getting for free almost. You remember those days when you could install solar panels and those lucky devils would get a fit payment, so feed-in tariff. So you'd install some solar, you'd get paid money for what you generate, and you also got paid deemed export, which is 50% of what you generate. They deem that you're going to export it and they pay you for that as well. So you get paid twice. Brilliant, hey? So what I decided was, is it worth giving up the deemed export? Because what you can do, and what I actually did, was contacted E.ON, my fit provider, and told them that I didn't want the export part anymore. I wanted to keep the fit payments for generation, but I didn't want the export part anymore because I wanted to move over to a smart export guarantee. You can't be paid twice for export, but you can be paid for the generation under the fit tariffs, and then you can be paid for what you export under a separate scheme, the smart export guarantee schemes. I don't talk about these fit schemes very often because I guess it's a touchy subject, isn't it? Those of us that installed solar 2018 and backwards probably, most likely, got fit payments, and those people that are on the really early schemes paid a lot more for their solar panels and they're getting paid a lot of fit payments. So they don't want to give those up, but we're not talking about giving up fit payments completely. I'm only talking about giving up the deemed export part. So a quick review, what did I install? I installed 3.9 kilowatts of solar panels on a 3.6 kilowatt inverter, and that was my fit array. That was my first install for solar panels, and I got some fit payments with that. That generates about 4 megawatt hours a year, sometimes under, sometimes over, but roughly 4 megawatt hours a year. So that's my payments, that's what I currently get. 4 megawatt hours times roughly 5 pence per kilowatt hour at the moment, so that's about £200 worth of generation fit payments. And then the export will be 2 megawatt hours, so half of what I generate multiplied by 7 pence a kilowatt hour, because that's the rate for export, the deemed export. Now both of those numbers are index linked, they will go up in value every single year, but I've estimated that my potential savings of moving away from the deemed export part will outweigh any inflationary gains as well. So let's have a look at that. Let's see how much I actually gain over the top. And if you did watch my video a year ago, I estimated £500. I estimated I'd be £500 better off by giving up deemed export and going with a smart export guarantee. So the question is, how have I done? Have I really saved £500? So let's start off with looking at the actuals. Last year, 2023, we generated on that array 4,559 kilowatt hours. So payments of 5 pence for each of those under the fit scheme, that would have been £217.95 for fit payments for generation. Half of that then, deemed to be exported, would be 2,179 kilowatt hours. And that's £152.56. So in total, we're talking £370 of payments coming in from that fit scheme. And you can see, it's free money to me. Of course, why shouldn't I install solar panels and be given that £370 a year as a bonus? But last year, 2023, if I look at what I actually exported, it wasn't the same as the deemed amount of 2,179. I exported 2,835 kilowatt hours. And if you multiply that by 15 pence, the rate that I can get on a smart export guarantee, and if I wasn't doing the deemed export last year, I could have made £425 of export payments. So that's much better off, isn't it? Now, that's not the £500 though, is it? So I'm giving up £152 last year, and I'm gaining £425. That's £273 better off. So why did I estimate £500 if my actual numbers from last year don't indicate that? And the idea is that because I'm being paid more for export, what I'm actually going to do is not consume as much solar as I did in 2023. In 2024, I'll consume less solar. And the way you do that is you use your energy, cheap rate overnight, from the grid. So the more energy I put into my home storage batteries, the more I put into the car, the more I put into hot water or heating or anything at all, the more I do importing from the grid at cheap rate, means I won't be using solar during the day. If I'm not using solar during the day, I'm exporting more. So my export is going to go up in 2024. So I estimated about £500 was what I was going to gain, not the 273 that it looked like to start with in 2023. The other thing that makes sort of sense with my system here is that I installed that first array of 3.9 kilowatts. Well, since then I've installed other solar arrays. So I've installed a 2.4 kilowatt array, a 2.9 kilowatt array, and another 2.4 kilowatt array. In total, I've now got 11.6 kilowatts of solar panels. So with so much more generation capability, I'm going to be able to export even more. Only the first array that I installed, the 3.9 kilowatts, qualifies for the FIT payments. So that has a separate meter on it to tell how much I've generated. So that can be accurate, and therefore they can pay me the FIT payments based on just that solar array. Now they can't do that on export. I can't tell how much I export from that one solar array, because the other solar arrays all go into the melting pot of the house, and then it's all mixed up, and then you export what you're not using. You can't tell where it came from. So that's why they use deemed export. They estimate 50% of what I generate is what I'm going to export. So it looks like it's going to be positive, doesn't it? I'm £273 better off if I stay as I am, but I've installed a little bit more solar, and I've now got a strategy of consuming less solar and exporting more. So the question is, how much have I exported during 2024, and how much have I actually made? Is it £500? Well, the total, unbelievably, is 7.269 megawatt hours. We exported 7,269 kilowatt hours, which is a phenomenal amount, because some of that was actually from solar generation, but some of it was actually from battery storage. So I would import energy from the grid, store it in my battery at cheap rate at 7 pence, and then export it for 15 pence per kilowatt hour. Now, if I'd have maximised that, I could have gained even more, but I didn't. I was quite cautious about what we exported, and I tested it during the year. Sometimes I would export 400 watts continuously, sometimes 900 watts continuously. I was basically testing and estimating how much could I export, how much did it work out over the entire day, and how much was I gaining, how much state of charge of the battery was I losing out. So I've been playing with it and testing it during the year. But the total, 7,269 times 15 pence per kilowatt hour is what they're paying me, £1,090. Yep, £1,090 credit on my bill for the exported energy this year in 2024. So compare that to the £140 to £150 of deemed export, then wow, I'm so much better off. But of course, as I said, I've been importing more energy from the grid, haven't I? So how much has that cost me more? In 2023, we imported from the grid 2,506 kilowatt hours, and that cost us in total, including standing charges, £346. This year in 2024, we've imported 6,454 kilowatt hours, a lot more energy, but that's only cost us £657. So yeah, we have had an increase of our energy bills. It's cost us more. So in total, we're £311 worse off this year because we've imported more energy from the grid, and I'm about £150 worse off because we haven't had any deemed export. So what's that? 311 plus 150, £461 worse off. But we've gained £1,090 in export payments. So that's a net saving of £630 better off by importing more from the grid and exporting more for a higher amount. £630. So it's definitely worthwhile, considering if you're still getting FIT payments for deemed export and you've installed more solar since you did that, it's most certainly worth considering going to an export tariff and being paid more. I'm now £630 a year better off, which, to be honest, I'm quite staggered by how big it is. Because if it's £50 or £100, I might not have been bothered to do this. But when it's hundreds of pounds, 630 quid, that is worthwhile. That's going to pay for a lot of our Christmas this year. So how are you getting on? Do you still have deemed export and fit payments? Have you not given them up yet? What's your thought on whether it's worthwhile doing it, and which tariff are you going to try? I know some people that swap backwards and forwards, but I haven't tried that yet. That's something for me to try with Octopus. I'll probably contact them and ask them what's supposed to happen, and then see what the reality is and see whether it is as smooth as it should be. What I don't want to have to do is give up an export tariff and then find I have to reapply completely from scratch for export. It should be easy just to swap between different tariffs. But that's for another time. Next year maybe, another video. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you have, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up on the video and subscribe to the channel as well. I've really enjoyed presenting these videos over the year, and if you have been following me for the entire journey, going electric with electric cars, electric heating system, electric hot water systems, smart house, portable batteries, all of those things, you'll know that it really is worthwhile doing, because I'm saving thousands of pounds every year in energy bills. I have no energy bills at all. I don't pay for oil, I don't pay for gas, I don't pay for petrol, I don't pay for diesel. It all comes out of our energy bill, and we're on a net credit. I'm now paid money for all the energy we're generating and exporting and consuming all of our energy, so I don't have any fuel bills at all, which really helps in retirement. That is the strategy for me. And for all those doubters out there thinking that this isn't possible because you don't have 20 or 30,000 pounds sitting in the bank to spend on all this stuff, well, this hasn't been something that I've done overnight. This is something I've saved for, something I've planned for, something I've done over time. So the question is, are you going to start? Are you going to start the journey? Because if you don't, you'll always be moaning, you'll always be having heavy bills, and you won't make these savings. But if you do start the electric journey, you're going to be better off. You're not going to be burning fossil fuels. You're going to feel a little bit better about that as well, because it is amazing once you do it. You start to, look down on the others that are still consuming gas and oil and petrol and diesel, because you don't have to. There is an option, and it's a better option. So I hope you enjoy these videos. I've really enjoyed presenting them. And 2025, here we come. More great content, I hope. Bye for now.